WYRN, Annapolis, voice of the Bay, WYRE weather.
Lots of sunshine today and warmer. Highs in the mid-60s. Tonight, partly cloudy and not as cold. Lows ranging from the upper 30s to lower 40s. Upper 30s in the suburbs, lower 40s downtown. Tomorrow, partly sunny and pleasant. A high of around 70. It is going to be a nice couple of days, so get out there and enjoy it. On the bay today, winds are going to be from the south, 5 to 10 knots. Waves are 1 to 2 feet on the Chesapeake, and visibility is unrestricted. Right now, the current temperatures are 50 degrees at BWI, 58 in Baltimore, and 54 degrees right here in downtown Annapolis. Now stay tuned for more of Webfoot.
WYRE.
We're back. This is Webfoot. I'm your host, Peter Cooper. Webfoot's the show that keeps you afloat, helps you navigate through the murky waters of the internet, technology, and business. Today we're talking about the atmosphere and climate and changes, what we can control, what we can't. We're talking about the business climate. Webfoot's a show that discusses marketing, business, and the business climate tied to technology. Webfoot is sponsored by Tips Technology of Crofton, Maryland, purveyors of software that satisfies. www.tipstechnology.com, 410-451-2363. Webfoot's a production of eVision Strategies at Severna Park. They see what you don't without the dots. 443-994-9350. Today we're talking business. My guests are Mr. Bill Badger, CEO of the Anne Arundel Economic Development Corporation. Mr. Mark Powell, CEO of AlwaysOnline.net. We're having a discussion of about Anne Arundel County and technology and our area here, why it's growing, and we're contrasting that a bit without mentioning it about all the negative that's occurring. We're very positive here in Anne Arundel County. We believe in our area, we believe in our growth, and we think we've got something going. Small entrepreneurial companies coupled with large companies. Before the break, we were talking a little bit about quality of life, and I wanted to ask Bill, and then Mark can chime in if you like. You mentioned it a little bit before. What makes us different than Northern Virginia? Everybody thinks of Northern Virginia, I mean Silicon Valley East and all the growth and all the big guys are there. But what makes us different here?
Well, Peter, Mark Powell kind of touched on it. I think he nailed it. I like to use the analogy of Chris McCleary, of course, who is the chairman of U.S. Internetworking here in town. And when Chris wanted to start U.S. Internetworking, he was pretty much told there's no way you can do that in Annapolis. The structure, the support structure is not there. You can't possibly find the talented people to grow a world-class company in Annapolis. It just won't happen. And Chris, of course, being a big believer and loving Anne Arundel County, Annapolis, said, no, I'm going to do it, and it's going to be great. And certainly, if you look how quickly they ramped up with people, and it did my heart well to see when I drove through the parking lot, all those Northern Virginia license plates there, and the talent is here. That's been proven over and over again. And for us, Peter, you know, we've got about 275,000 people in our workforce. About 100,000 of those people get in their car every day and go out of our county for their employment. And part of our strategy is to create quality jobs here so people that love to live here can also work here. And I think if you give anybody an opportunity to have a quality job here in Anne Arundel County, Annapolis, they're going to jump at that opportunity.
If we're a small business and we're thinking of starting, we have an idea. We've got the Entrepreneurs Exchange here. We've got some of those. We've got a lot of ideas, and the strength here is diversity, vision, and flexibility. Sort of, what kind of things does the Economic Development Corporation do to kind of promote that both when you start and then keeping a watch over you as you grow?
Okay, that's a good question. A lot of people don't talk about small business. I try to talk about it as much as I can. We've got over 12,000 companies here in the county. 98% of them have less than 50 employees. So our economy is dominated by small business. You hear about the big boys, but where the rubber hits the road is small business. And we act as a clearinghouse of information to help small businesses. We do small business lending. We're an SBA lender. We help with permitting. We help with licenses, kind of soup to nuts, anything they need to not only get started and prosper. We're doing a kind of a milestone opportunity here, in my opinion, of trying to create a small business technology incubator. We've engaged the services of a consultant to identify where that first incubator will be in the county, and I think that's really symbolic of our commitment for small business.
I think that's very key. You know, there have been several of those up in the Baltimore region, et cetera, but really the talent is here and the drive is here in Anne Arundel County. And when I was looking for that, I always said, well, why isn't there something like that sitting here in Anne Arundel County? And I'm well familiar with the Dingman Center down at the University of Maryland and the technology, engineering technology center there, and some of the things they do for promoting that and making that growth. And I remember when I moved here from Belgium, and I moved to Anne Arundel County, and some of the realtors wanted me to move to Columbia. And I said, well, you know, and they kept pushing me towards Severna Park and Annapolis and Anne Arundel County. And I said, well, what makes it different? And I said, they kept saying over and over again, it's the people. And here I was coming from overseas, so I didn't know. But they kept saying that over and over. And the more I've lived here, the longer I've lived here, the more I've seen that. And you mentioned the big companies versus the small companies. I interviewed Dennis Cisco, the new president of the High Tech Council here, and I've just seen that High Tech Council grow from about 3 or 4 companies to over 200 now, I guess. And some are more active than others, of course. But he said that slowly his biggest challenge is to get the Northrop Grummans, the Siennas, and the defense guys talking to the small entrepreneurs and building that back and forth, because the problems are the same. And that was one of his biggest challenges. And I suppose you mentioned, Mark, that you've been able to interact a little bit in that area, but do you see that sort of pull and that dichotomy there?
Actually, it's an interesting dichotomy, because the businesses that we have here in Anne Arundel County that we're doing business with quite a few of, I guess you would consider them, larger companies. And it's, I think it's all part of the sort of the changing nature of the world right now, that a lot of the larger companies, and actually we're picking up quite a bit of business from larger companies at this point, because I really think that the economic models are changing right now, and really the service factor of how well you can service and service the business, I think that's really taking over. And I think a lot of the companies that were the larger companies have really, because of financial or whatever the situations, have sort of maybe neglected some of their customer base to some degree. And it's interesting, and I think that there's a void there behind that the customer service issue. I think the larger companies are looking for smaller companies because of the service issue.
And I think that's one of your big things, as you've seen in the change over the past year, basically, as you've, being a communication company, you've kind of moved from just offering a thing, as I would call it that, to providing the service background behind that, to offering business software to augment what you do. I know you have this new thing called Velocity Docs, VDocs, that allows document management to be retrieved from anywhere securely. And that's powered by TIPS, of course. But as you mentioned, it allowed you to offer services other than just a connectivity into the internet.
Well, actually, we just recently did a sponsorship for the Baltimore Business Journal Tech Guide. And basically, our marketing theme at this point is basically, let us worry. It shows somebody fishing. And it's, is the website working or your application serving? And then basically the answer is the fish biting. And basically what we really want to provide is a high level of service that offers somebody a delivered solution that they can focus on managing their business, and the aspects that we take care of for their business, it becomes a fail-safe system. Our mantra right now is web at work, because the web is going to be changing the way traditional companies and everybody's doing business. I think we're at a very important point in time. It's interesting when you bring up children and in your opening discussion, because I have 2 children. They're 13 and 10. They both go to schools in Severna Park, and it's fascinating to me to see really how they use the technology. It's my older daughter with IMing, she immediately can go onto the web to do a report, take an image off of something and integrate an image into a page so she can do a presentation that, and that's my 10-year-old.
Yeah.
My 13-year-old can do a lot more, and it's just they don't see the technology as new like we do. They see the technology as current.
And the third part of that article in Interactive Week was about seniors, and seniors were saying that they're slowly catching up, but it used to be even just less than a year ago that they thought, oh my gosh, I can't deal with this technology, but they're learning and figuring out that even though it's new, it's not so new, and they're learning from the next generation back and the next generation back, and these kids are beginning to teach us and say the can-do attitude. This is possible, and it works.
Peter, actually, bring up the seniors. My 73-year-old mother right now is in England, and she's going to kiosks and hotels and dropping me an email every day with how she's enjoying her trip. So you're right. The seniors are going to become a very important part of the net.
All right, and it's growing, and that's good. That's changing. Northern Virginia, again, we've talked about it, but I think from observing and having gone to some meetings down there, and Bill, you mentioned you'd been to them, there's a lot of companies with offices down there. They all have an office, and they all have a presence. But are they really doing anything? Is anything really coming out of that? In a lot of cases, no, they're there. Here, we have companies that are action, that are building, that are growing and can do something with technology and where it's growing. After the break, I want to talk a little bit about some exciting technology in the wireless industry, which is what we've talked about a lot. But our own company here, AirInc, is quite significantly involved in doing that with airlines. This is Webfoot. I'm your host, Peter Cooper.
What is Rhythm Notion?